Hello and welcome to the second episode of Canada, a History of Evolution.
In this episode, we'll be looking at life in Canada during the 20s and 30s, following the end of World War I.
Known as the Roaring Twenties, the period after the war was very prosperous for many Canadians. The economy was looking better than ever, people had new and exciting social freedoms, and best of all, the world was at peace.
It was not all warm and fuzzy, however. 1929 saw a stock market crash and the start of the worst economic depression in history. It affected millions of people across the country and lasted for 10 years.
To better understand these events, we're going back in time to follow the lives of the Johnston
My
family.
husband is on his way to Ottawa. It's hard to believe it's actually happening, but things have to be changed. When we moved to Vancouver for work, we thought things might be different. We were in for a shock. These relief camps are very poorly named. Sure, my husband gets paid 20 cents a day, but the work is brutal and the conditions are worse. Something needs to be done, and hopefully it will be. That is why my husband is now on the top of a freight car traveling to Ottawa with thousands of men who are bringing their complaints straight to the government. They are to pick up even more passengers along the way. Although I am more than happy that we are taking action, I am still a little nervous about the whole thing. I keep remembering the Winnipeg General Strike and the person who was killed. I don't want this to end that way, and I don't know what I would do if that was my husband who
I had to sell the apartment today. Things are getting real bad. I'm a car mechanic, and a good one at that, but times are tough and no one wants to drive anymore. They can't afford it, or they just can't afford to get a car. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Lost my job, lost my house. I had to go to the food bank for the first time today. What an embarrassment. Line was all the way down the street. I had to wait hours just to get a bowl of soup. But I have a plan. I hear there's work out west, so I'm gonna hop on a train and head that direction. I gotta get out of here.
That granddaughter of mine, I tell you, she had a right childhood, gallivanting around, piping all that jazz music into her head. Half the time, I couldn't even understand what she was saying. I tell you, it is darn lucky she married as well as she did. A right stand-up bloke, that innit? Tell you this much. 5 times as happy as I ever seen her with him, instead of running around like a right flapper. All that changed. Black Tuesday came and went as it did. Her cousin, Miles was it, nearly took his own life when the stock market crashed. Hopped up on margin loans as he was. Tell you, Kirith and her lot, not doing too well either. Barely getting by on government relief. Tell you, I can do without that jazz music. But you take the light out of a young woman's eyes and crush her spirit. What good is that?
Sometimes I wonder how such crooked people can run our country. Mackenzie King has really done it this time. He couldn't just accept that he was unfit to lead this country. He had to try and call for a dissolution of Parliament. I knew that his government wouldn't last, his government counting on the support of the Progressives. I just can't believe he went to the Governor General and tried to dissolve Parliament just for another election. Even though Governor General Byng rejected King's initial attempt, he eventually had Parliament dissolved and he won the next election by a landslide. I feel this country is becoming increasingly corrupt and poorly run. Also, I can clearly see the wrong in the liberal strategies my parents still.
These hard times continued late into the 30s, but new government policy, the Bank of Canada's nationalization, and the events of the Second World War all helped to pull Canada and the world out of the Depression.
But that will just have to wait till next time, when we'll tell you all about the Second World War.
So long for now.